So help me. Just let me share it. Real time. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to another hour of the Real Talk with Judy show. Thank you so very much. If you're a returning listener, thank you. If this is your first time, I want to thank you so very much. We got a good show for you today. I am very excited, and I want to thank those of you on Facebook for tuning in and listening. And so go ahead and call everybody. We got some great people in this studio today, and I'm gonna tell you about one of them when I ask them to put the headset on once we get started. We got glamour going on in this studio today, so I have to tell you about that. I almost feel like going and redoing my hair. I got the earrings covered up, and we'll tell you about that in just a few moments. But I'm so glad that you all tuned in to the Real Talk with Judy show today. Go ahead and call everybody, and to all of my sponsors, the listeners, everybody, I want to thank you so very much for being here. We're going to get started with the show, and we'll ask God to bless us and give us direction, and may your heart be touched. And I know you will be inspired and motivated. So, Father, we thank you for this opportunity. Amen. Well, on the show today, you all have been passing the flyer around and on Facebook, and different ones have asked for it. And I want to say thank you so very much. But I'm excited about the guests. You all know the main guest and her guest in here, and that's Pamela Moore.
Hello.
Welcome to the Real Talk with Judy show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
We're so glad to have you here. We're excited about it, and I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Dr. Arnett Moore, who I know is listening to us,
yes,
watching us, or however he's doing it. He's here listening to us, and I want to thank you so very much for tuning in. And we're going to get into all of them stories. It's going to be an absolutely phenomenal show. And next to her, we have her daughter, who's been all over the world doing a whole bunch of things, a whole lot of things in life. And that is Mikaya. I did that purposely. I just want you to correct me, because I'm gonna tell y'all about these earrings in just a few moments. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now while she's coming on. I asked her to put the headsets on. She said, "Oh, it's covering my earrings." So, I don't know. Maybe we have to find some headsets that take the whole lot so they can see our earring. But I'm so glad to have you on the show. Thank you.
For having me.
We're honored to have you. And we also have on the show, we have the occupation therapist. Occupational therapist. And her name is Martha. No, that is not her name.
Kelly Unanino.
Say your last name again?
Unanino.
So yeah, and I was gonna call and ask Pamela to introduce the guest, so she can make sure I got your last name correctly. I'm honored to have you here today. Thank you so very much for being here, and we have some more in the studio, but we are absolutely excited to have all of you on the line in the studio with us this morning. And on the line we have when she get ready to call in by way of the telephone, we're going to have my sister girl that called in. Thank you, Pam. We're gonna have Veronica herself that called in from the halves and halves. She. I know we just like her, don't we? Yeah, that Veronica be setting things in order. So we are excited for this show. We're excited for each one of you taking time out of your schedule to be here. And Pam, we're going to start with you, and I'm going to ask you if you would to tell me a little bit about yourself, and then Mikaya, and then why would I call you Martha? You look like Martha today. Okay, but Kelly,
Yes,
we would like to hear. So give us a little bit about you, and then you, Mikaya, and then you, Kelly.
Well, as you already mentioned, I am happily married to Mr. Arnett Moore for over 37 years. And we are the proud parents of 3 beautiful and talented daughters, and you see one of the specimens right here. And we have 7 gorgeous grandchildren.
Oh, yes.
Age ranging from age 11 to 2.
Oh, wow.
And so we stay pretty busy. When they come to, well, some of them live here. Mikaya's children live here. But Sequoia, which is my oldest daughter, lives in Atlanta. And when she comes down, we just have a blast hanging out together. I'm also a part of the leadership team at my church, at Metropolitan Cathedral of Truth. And I just do what I do and just have a story to tell you about where I've been over the last 18 months.
18, and we're gonna get into that story because she didn't mention it, but she is the production director for what we have been experiencing for years, and that is Dr. Helena Barrington Majesty.
Yes.
And if you have not been prepared to go this year, December
6th.
December 6th. So it is absolutely fantastic, and she has a lot of good things going on. As a matter of fact, after talking with her, our subject topic, as we were talking, came into my spirit, and it's trauma, Trauma, birth vision. And a lot of time after we go, and I love what's on yours, Mary, on your resume, because you help people live. Go get back to life after experiencing some type of trauma. So I'm excited. Reading you all's resume was absolutely fantastic. And so you do some wonderful things, and we're going to get into that. Mikaya, tell us a little bit about your family. Yeah, but we're gonna get into some more because you just reading your resume and watching you have really instilled so much into women all across this nation. And your mom made a comment to me, and we'll get into that in a little bit. And I thought it was just phenomenal. So just a little now, but we're gonna get into your story because you have such a wealth of wisdom and strength to share with us.
Well, I am Mikaya Warren, formerly Mikaya Moore. A lot of my clients know me by Mikaya Dionne, but I am a Tallahassee native, born and raised, married for 10 years. We have 4 gorgeous children, 4 of which my mom already talked about. But I have a company called Mikaya Dionne Enterprises, as well as a modeling agency, the Mikaya Dionne Agency. And a couple of years ago, I also started a nonprofit organization called My Bald is Beautiful. So we'll talk about that as well. But I'm just excited to be here. Thank you for having me. That's a little piece about me.
Yeah, and you all will hear it. And I'm just trying to save it a little bit until we get into talking. But I tell you, these women are absolutely phenomenal. And the strength and the power that they've given to us and given to so many people, lives that they have already embraced. I know that someone today, you're going to live, you're going to be ready to contact these ladies in case you're having a moment while you're going through your trauma. It is always, I believe, good to have somebody there with you. Absolutely. And Mary, I got it.
Kelly.
I've been going from Martha to Mary. And I got everything.
That's all right.
can hear my mama saying, "Girl, you make sure you know them people names when they come on your show." My mama is having a fit right now. Mama, it is okay. I know her name is Kelly.
That's
okay?
right.
I got it. Her name is Kelly. Kelly.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. I'm a wife and mother. I have 2 small children, 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. I'm also an occupational therapist. I specialize in the treatment of both lymphedema and cancer rehab. And I've done that for about 8 years. So I've had the privilege of helping people through their cancer journey for over 8 years. It's been an awesome experience. Not something I ever thought I would do. I came from a background of education and social work, and always thought that I would be an occupational therapist that worked primarily with children. This position sort of fell in my lap, and it's been an incredible journey. And so I've been blessed to be able to do this.
And on your resume, I was looking. You did social work, foster care,
Yes,
and that's what a bulk of a lot of your service was focused on. And then I saw you flip. And so what got, because on here saying your goal is getting people back to living life.
Yes.
What put you towards the adults or people dealing with cancer and lymphedema?
So I did social work and did special education, elementary education, and loved it, but wasn't able to afford to pay my bills.
Okay.
Went back to school to be an occupational therapist, to work with special needs children, and I'm the type of person who likes a challenge. And so somebody when I was in school said, if you really want a challenge, you need to go into working with adults with all different types of backgrounds. You need to go into a rehab center like that. I did, and there was a lymphedema therapist there who was leaving, and they said, "Do you have any interest in treating lymphedema?" And I said, "Well, I don't actually know what lymphedema is."
And I was just about to ask you, what is lymphedema?
Right. So it's commonly associated with cancer treatment. Lymphedema is the abnormal accumulation of lymphatic fluid. Typically, it happens after, it's most well known with breast cancer survivors. When a woman has breast cancer and has her lymph nodes removed through surgery, has radiation that radiates those lymph nodes or the area, there can be this kind of backing up or this swelling in the arm, in the breast, in the chest. And so it's what happens after treatment, after cancer treatment, and that's where we specialize. We specialize in getting women who've gone through this very traumatic event, who have gone through a life-changing event, back to living their life. And occupational therapy is focused on helping individuals be independent, strong, and able to care for themselves. And able to engage in all the things they want to do. So we ask in our evaluation, what do you want to do? What do you like to do? And how do we get you back to doing that?
Wow, that is exciting. Well, on the phone, we have Veronica. And Veronica, I want to say to you, I want to see if you remember this one. We already did that, and you're not very good at it.
Well, I do remember that one.
Boy, that was powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to the Real Talk with Judy show from the show America's Best. Welcome to the Real Talk with Judy live radio show, the one and only Miss Angela Robinson. Half and half now. Are you trying to kill me? All I've done for you? You trying to kill me? Oh, I got something for. Come on, Miss Angela. Welcome to the show.
Well, I'm so glad that you know all the lines. I need to take you with me everywhere.
I will go. Thank you so very much for being on the show. We're so honored to have you, and and we know that you're getting ready with Pam and Mikaya and all for the fashion inspiration. But Miss Angela, you were here for sickle cell one year. I sat by you and gave you your closing line before you got up, and it was.
You did.
You don't remember?
Well, remind me.
I just did. Now you remember all those lines from half and half nine. You can't remember your best friend line, my Lord. Anyway, but you're so involved in the sickle cell and helping. Tell us a little bit about your passion and why you give so much back to this.
Oh wow! Well, I have many passions. Sickle cell is a passion because of my niece. My niece and my father. My father was very involved with Sickle Cell Foundation, and my niece Mikaya has sickle cell. So I will do whatever I can for awareness about sickle cell disease. I think it's important to spread the word about it, and I will always show up for that because I've watched her heroically go through so much. And of course, this I'm so excited about because my bestie, I watched her go through, what she has gone through and come through with cancer, and for her to come through it and want to serve in this way, of course, I would show up. But I believe that we are given blessings and talents and gifts not for ourselves, but to use them as a service to others. And if we don't do that, then we're pretty much just kind of blessed with talent for no reason. It's great that, people clap and cheer, but that's not really why we're blessed with them. We're blessed with them so that we can be of service to others.
You're absolutely correct. And today we're talking about trauma birth vision. And one of my beliefs is a lot of time, and I'm looking at your niece, I'm looking at your bestie, both of us, and I'm looking at them, and I'm thinking that they went through so much, and they're going, but it birthed vision. It birthed women who are powerful. What is your opinion on that?
Oh, that is absolutely true. Tribulation worketh patience, right?
Right.
All right, so you definitely, as much as we hate to think about it, you cannot get to a point of overcoming and victory unless you had something to overcome and be victorious over. So, those two ladies have overcome so much, some of which they told you about today, some of which you probably will never know about, but I know about it. And they've come through so much. And they could easily be under a rock right now on Prozac, trying to make it out of the bed.
Yes.
But God.
But God.
They have chosen to use what they've come through to help somebody else come through. So I think definitely trauma can lead to that. I've had my own share of trauma, but now when I look back on it, I understand why, and I'm able to use that to bless somebody else. It is the kind of thing that you have to look back on, though. When you're in it, you can't see any of what we're talking about today.
You are exactly correct, because when you're going through, it's like, take me out. How long would this last? We're like Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. We're asking God, remove this cup.
That's right. And that's why you have to have friends and a village and a community. Because, if you've isolated yourself your whole life and expect for a community to find you when you're going through, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But if you are in community with people and you have friends around you, then when you can't pray, they'll pray. When you can't stand, they'll stand in the gap. When you can't show up, they'll pick you up and take you to where you need to be. So find community when you are well, so that when you are not well, they'll be there for you.
Girl, you preaching too. Come on. My Lord. Your auntie preached too, huh? She beat up Miss, what you call her? She said, look at that old drunk in the corner. But you are absolutely correct, Angela. One of the things that you just said, and listeners, I hope you get this. She said, have friends before trauma. Get people in your life while things are going well. We can't kick everybody out. And we have to have people in our life now. People, we have to be friends with people before we need them.
That's right.
So they can be there and then they can know how to care for us.
Yes, yes.
What else you want to tell us?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, hell, okay. Well, I could be here all day about those two sitting there with you. I just want to tell you that Pamela Moore and the entire Moore family, I've been a part of their lives definitely since the babies were born. But since she and her husband got married, they've always given to others.
Yes.
They've always showed up for others when they were going through. Definitely for me, but for not just me. I've seen them do it for other people. I've seen them stay up all night in the hospital with others. Definitely, I've seen Pam and Arnett stay in the hospital all night with their daughter. They're just givers. And so when you're going through what she's gone through, she can attest to this. The people that you've given to are not always the people that's going to show up for you. And you will expect, oh, well, I did this for them and I did that for them. Where are they? That's not how it works, see, because you have to just rely on God. And God will send the most unsuspecting people to sit with you, and it won't be the people you gave to. That's why you can't give and expect it to come back to you from the same people. So I have watched her be disappointed by friends, but at the same time be surprised by other friends that showed up.
Yes.
So, it's just been a beautiful, it's been hard because I hate to see my friends suffer. But it's been a beautiful thing to watch her come into certain realizations about friendships and about giving because she's been a giver her whole life. It was easy for her to just expect those same people to be the ones that show up for her. But she has had to see that that's not always the case. There's no hate, no bad thing about the people who didn't show up. It just wasn't for them to show up. It was for these other new angels that God sent to show up. I have watched her be in pain, but yet I say, how you doing? And she said, I'm all right. God is good, Angie. I'm just going to walk in that. I have watched her speak life to herself. When she didn't even feel that, she would continue to speak life for herself. But at the same time, I've also watched her face the truth about her situation and be honest with me and say, I'm not good today.
Yeah.
And you got to know how to do that too. So it's been I won't say good because it's never good to watch your friends suffer, but it's been
a journey.
It's been a teaching moment for me.
Yes.
Watching her go through what she's gone through.
Wow.
So she's blessed me in her trauma because she went through it so gracefully.
Wow. And you know what? It's good to have people in your life like you, Angela, and I'm sure that they are good people. They are very good people. I've known them since 1977. But not long as you, but
No, that's longer than me.
That's longer than you? All right, well, I got something on you, girl. I got something on you.
Longer than me.
Look at them. But you are saying so many good things because, and now if you're going to stay on the line, we're going to go ahead and finish the rest of the show, and you just hang up when you have to. Jump in when you want to, so we can. Because I want everyone to hear that story. I want us to talk. I'm gonna tell you about your niece because you wasn't on here when I mentioned it, Angela. So we have on headsets, right? Because we're in the studio and we have to hear when we're talking to the people in the audience. Correct? Your niece said, "Oh, this is covering up my earring." Like, baby girl, that's how you wear headsets.
That's how she rolls, always be on point with Mick.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to say, because her journey started at 1 year old, Pam. And so we want to talk about that and you being her mother. Then we're going to get in your journey, because one of the things that you texted me that I thought was, oh wow, it just brought something to my heart. You said I watched, I supported my daughter when she lost her hair to alopecia, and she supported me when I lost mine to chemo. Wow, and that's another thing. Those of you who's listening, I want you to understand too. It's good to have a good relationship with your children because you never know. Sometime when they have to come back and care for you, either they will or they won't, and that's just the bottom line. And sometimes when you ain't a good parent, and parents hear me, sometimes when you're not a good parent, they're not gonna be there. But anyway, that's a whole nother show. Tell Tyler to put that in one of them screenplays. You ain't been here for me. Now you want me to be here for you? Go sit over there trying to teach. Oh, you're trying to kill me? Oh, you won't be killing anyone else? Come on, Pam, tell us how you sound.
Listen, on that note, I'm going to hang up and let you talk to those two beautiful people that's in studio with you. I love them with all my heart, and I love you for taking the time to talk to them. And I will see you at the end of October, okay, my friend?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Oh, y'all want to tell?
Love you. See you later.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. So, Pam, thank you so very much, Angela, for being on with us. So, Pam, how did that feel? Or horrible.
I will never forget the day that it was Easter Sunday. We're talking about Mikaya, when
right?
She lost her hair. It was an Easter Sunday morning. Of course, you know Easter. You want your girls to be pretty and their hair pretty and their little frilly dresses. And Mikaya was my queen of wearing frilly dresses. The other two didn't like frilly dresses. But I was doing her hair, and I was sitting in my mother's dining room, as a matter of fact, and I was doing her hair. And all of a sudden, a clump of hair just came off in my hand. And I went, I just was, what in the world is happening? Well, I didn't want to tell her. Mm-hmm. But, I did what I could with her hair. There was enough hair still there, that I could do her hair. And she didn't really notice at the time. But as the weeks went on, more and more of the hair came out. And we went to various doctors. We ended up going to Shan's. And Shan's, they ended up telling us that, she had what was considered alopecia areata, which is the form of alopecia that does not come back. Your hair doesn't come back. It generally does not come back. And at age 10, was it 11? 10. That's when it started. Mm-hmm. That's devastating. Mm-hmm. You kind of preteen, and you want boys to notice you, and so Mikaya, went through a very difficult time. She had a sister, her oldest sister, Sequoia, didn't play, and if anybody looked at Mikaya wrong, she would jack them up. We had to pull her off some people.
Wow!
But she was very protective of Mikaya. Okay. And Mikaya went through a phase where she really did not think that she was pretty. Because girls want their hair. It's a woman's glory, it's her hair. And so I would get Mikaya and I would have her look in the mirror. And I'd say, look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. And she would think that was the most cruel thing that I could do. She thought that I was being very cruel to her. And she would look in the mirror and she would cry. And I said, you say it again. And we would go through that almost every day. Because I wanted her to know that it didn't matter that she didn't have her hair. She was still beautiful. Mm-hmm. And although she thought it was cruel at the time, now as an adult, she knows that that's the thing that empowered her to do the things that she's doing now, because it built her self-esteem. It caused her to know that, my hair, there's a song out there that says, I am not my hair, and Mikaya came to that point, and she can tell you a little bit more about her feelings.
And just right before Mikaya, with you, your daughter standing in the mirror, and you telling her to say she's beautiful, and she's crying, and I know you had to have that
tough love.
That tough love.
It was tough love, and I had to stand it because when she walked out the room, I cried.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But I couldn't let her see that. I wanted her to be strong and have that level of strength and confidence in herself, and that was the way that I felt I needed to do it. That's the tool I had at the time to do that.
So you had the strength already, because we're going to get to your story. We're going to talk a little bit about Mikaya, because that was powerful. You had to stand there, number one, to watch her hair come out in your hand, and then for it to continue to come out. Mikaya, I don't know what age you probably start feeling the impact of losing your hair, but tell me some of your feelings.
That was almost immediately. Okay. I went to a private school at the time, and, I didn't have a lot of friends, but I was very, very conscious of, my outer appearance. So my hair was something that I took very much, pride in. My mom could tell you she would have to pull me out of the bathroom sometimes from playing in it and, doing all kind of stuff. But so that it was immediate, that I started feeling the impact of, my hair actually being gone, and then you transition from, okay, the hair is gone. Now what do we do from then? I'm 10, 11 years old. There aren't any 11-year-old age appropriate wigs.
True.
So,
True. Wow.
Even going through that whole, scenario of trying to find something to make me feel better about, even, we would go to the wig store and try on tons and tons of wigs, and I would just sit there and cry. I'm like, this ain't it.
Because they were all old.
They were all, at that time, you didn't have lace fronts and, all the kind of stuff we have now. But, so even that was a traumatic experience, trying to cope with something, and even your method of coping not being sufficient. So, but my mom planted a seed. Like she said at the time, I thought it was horrible. I was like, why are you making me do this? This is like the most cruel thing ever in life. Wow. But she planted that seed. And now, I realize, even with my own daughters, that you have to plant those seeds of confidence, of self-love. And even with, the women that I encounter on a day-to-day basis, you have to plant those seeds, because every woman is not raised to understand her beauty beyond hair or beyond makeup or, beyond the outer appearance. So that was definitely important.
And that's real talk, y'all, because parents, mothers, I hope you're listening, because the first impact, and I'm sure, Kelly, you may agree with me, but the first impact or the first empowerment comes from a child mom. And it is important. And as I'm listening to Pam, and they're calling you Mickey. So as I'm listening,
that must mean they go way back.
They go way back. Nikki. But what I'm hearing is that parent has to be able to give their children tough love, especially when they're dealing with trauma.
Absolutely. And or a community. I think that there are a lot of, having come from a background of foster care, there are a lot of people out there that don't have their biological parents. But having a community, having a family, having a village that helps raise them, that helps instill those. So it doesn't necessarily just have to come from your mother. But I would say that, especially in this case, I think it both planted a seed for you, but also for your mother later in her journey.
Yes.
Of having to listen to her own words. What she said to you then, she had to listen to herself. She shared that with me while we were going through treatment, and having to relive that, what she went through with you, having to relive that herself and having to listen to her own words of self-love.
Man, that God is something else. So he prepared you long time ago. He prepares us long time ago to deal with something that we may have to come back with and deal with again. And I agree with you 100%. And I said the mother but it takes the village, and we have to be able, in the spirit of love, to provide tough love.
Absolutely.
Because we don't plant that seed, and you've said that several times, we don't plant that seed and keep watering it. When we go through something, if we haven't already had it in there, we're going to lose it. It's going to be hard to bounce back. And so you also deal with sickle cell, correct?
Absolutely.
And she said, just as beautiful. I tell you, you're just as beautiful. So you went through all of these years, and Pam, you're grown, and your children are up in age, and Mikaya is spinning the world all over, everywhere. Because Mikaya, tell us some of the things that you're doing, because I want to build it straight to your mom's story, because you have raised her. Your big sister is your protector, and your dad. Don't forget daddy, because he don't play about his girls. That's from his wife and his girls. But you're making it. And somewhere in there you got that strength and you started doing things. Let's talk about that.
So yeah, like I mentioned earlier in my introduction, I got the courage. I had been considering auditioning for America's Next Top Model. And this was my second go around auditioning. They had come to Tallahassee. And I was like, I don't know, because, I was just kind of conflicted about whether to show up with a wig or show up, as is. And I reached out to a local photographer, and I had also been talking to my mom and now my husband. And they had encouraged me to, just be you, go as is. But it wasn't, you can encourage people to do certain things, but until they feel it for themselves, right. It's not going, it won't manifest. But I had reached out to a photographer, and he was like, hey, just send me a quick picture of you without my hair. I was like, I ain't doing that. But I did. And he was like, that's dope. I think you should, go for it. And your family and your friends can tell you, but when you hear it from outside influences, it's a little bit different. So no shade to you guys, but I needed to hear that from an industry professional. And so when I did, I went to the audition without hair. I met Takara at the time, and I actually ended up going to the second round. But after that experience, it was solidified for me. It was like kind of like I don't need hair anymore. Like this is cool. I can deal with it. And so from that moment on, I was, okay with, being without wigs and things like that. And once I started, not wearing wigs, I would get people just out the woodworks coming up to me. Oh my God, you're so gorgeous. You're so brave. You're so this, you're so that. And I'm like, really? You think so? It still didn't really sit well. But a little girl came up to me in Publix, and I'll tell you why Publix is so significant, because when I was younger, I had an incident in Publix, and this little boy stared me down and was making all kind of comments, and my sister took him to those Hallmark cards. You remember they used to have them in the aisle? She took him to one of them little aisles and jacked him up, and I was like, Mom, get her. But it was significant. This little girl came up to me in Publix, and she said, I have alopecia too, and I think you're so brave.
Oh, wow.
And that just really broke my heart. So, and it made me think about all of the other younger girls that may be going through alopecia or something similar, even cancer, who may be losing their hair, but they don't have the support system, or they don't have women in their lives to tell them that they're beautiful, or, ways to cope with it. So I came up with My Bald is Beautiful, and we started doing support groups and things like that around town. But out of that, I started noticing that the moms of the girls that I was talking to needed support too, and that they weren't all the way confident. So, and I've always loved beauty, all things beauty, makeup, hair, all of that good stuff. So Mikaya Dionne Enterprises was born, and what I do now is I empower women through makeup, through image consulting. I help them kind of get it together, and plant that seed as well. So it's kind of all come full circle for me. I never really imagined that I would be in this arena due to my experiences, but like you said, that's how God works. It's kind of he puts things in orbit before we even know that there is anything spinning. So
wow, I like that. That is true. And so we go full circle, and then in March, right, of 2018, you're diagnosed. His mom has been strong, empowering her daughter, making sure that you are confident, you are bold, you are beautiful, you are walking runways, you are traveling, you are the bomb diggity boom boom, you are making it happen. And then, Mom, March 2018, you're diagnosed with breast cancer. And I know that this moment here didn't just happen with us on the radio, with over 15,000 people listening and here we are talking about you were diagnosed with breast cancer. What was that first moment like?
I was actually at work, and my doctor called me. And I thought it was a little odd that I would get a call from the doctor. I'd done my mammogram, my yearly mammogram, and we were waiting for the results. Well, we got the results of the first mammogram, and they said, let's do a biopsy. And so I was waiting for the actual test from the biopsy. I wasn't real alarmed about that because some women have dense breast tissue, and sometimes they see things and they want you to come and do a biopsy. I've done it before. I'm like, no problem.
No problem.
And so I was at work, and I got the phone call on my cell phone, and it was the doctor herself, not the nurse, which that was a little alarming.
Yes.
And then I thought, oh, it's spring break week, short staff, that's all. And she says, hi, Pamela, how are you? I'm like, I'm fine, how are you? We've been together for a long time, so we, have casual conversation like that. It was really cool. So she said, so are you at work? And I said, yes, I am. And she said, well, I thought about calling you on Monday, but I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to call you on a Friday, but I don't want to wait. Pamela, you have breast cancer. Just like that. And I said, okay. And the way I said okay was not as a, hey, it's okay. It's
right.
Okay, what we going to do about this?
Mm-hmm.
And she said, did you hear me? I said, I did. She said, you're awfully calm. Did you expect me to say that? I said, absolutely not. And
they say they can barely hear you.
Can barely hear me. And so she said, well, I want to get you in for some other testing because we see something in the left breast as well that we need to check out. And so I said, okay. Ironically, my husband was in Chicago. My daughter that lives with me was in Indianapolis. Mikaya was in Atlanta.
Man.
So I'm taking this information in, and it was, I don't know, I just had this peace. Fear never entered. And I think that's a key factor, because how you start a thing is the way you finish a thing. And I took a posture of, all right, you got the nerve to come at me, I have the nerve to fight you.
Oh, wow.
That was the stance I took that day. And I know that was just God's peace on me. I'll tell you, I want to just share something. I write songs sometimes. And a couple of months before this all happened, God gave me this song. It says, He's setting the stage for your miracle. Open your heart to receive it. The windows of heaven are open to meet your every need. He's setting the stage for your miracle. Just open your heart and believe it. There's nothing too great, nothing too small, and have faith that it will be done. Had no clue of what I was going to deal with. And so I had to make a decision. Okay, do I call my husband in Chicago and tell him that I have cancer over the phone? Or do I wait till he comes home tomorrow? Or what? Well, my youngest daughter, Devin, came home that evening, and they knew that I was waiting on the results. And she said, Mom, what did you hear from the people? And I said, yeah, I did, Devin. What'd they say? I'm washing dishes. They said, I have breast cancer. She said, Mom, you're really scaring me because you're really calm. I said, I know, right? And that's kind of the way it went. But now that I had told my daughter, I had to tell my husband, because she was going to call her sisters, and it's going to be crazy. So I did. I ended up having to tell my husband over the phone. And he was floored. I think he took it worse than I did, and so we had to start the process of going through the testing and all those things. And so we decided to have a lumpectomy. Thankfully, it was stage 1.
Yes.
Had not entered my lymph nodes. So we did the lumpectomy, and they said, everything looks good. Your margins look good. You look like you're going to be okay. And they sent me to the oncologist, and we said, we'll probably have to do radiation because that's just standard if you have a lumpectomy. And my oncologist said, everything looks good. There's a test that we will do they do a test called the OncoDX test, which it actually tests the characteristics or the tendencies of the tumor as to the percentage of reoccurrence and things of that nature. I learned a lot. I want an honorary degree when I'm done with this.
She deserves one. She deserves one.
And so he said that, but there's a 10% chance that it'll be, high risk. But he said, well, I get a phone call. He says he wants to see me. That 10% we talked about? That's where we are. So whereas most women have a 12% chance for reoccurrence, with this particular tumor characteristic, it put me in the 54 to 68% percentile for reoccurrence. He said, so I'm recommending chemo. Well, that's the other C word that nobody ever wants to hear.
Right, cancer and chemo.
You could not have paid me to believe that I would ever have to experience chemotherapy. And that was the thing that when he said that, I had not cried through this process. The whole time I was like, it's going to be good, But when he said the C word, as in chemotherapy, I said, am I going to lose my hair? Yeah, you're going to lose your hair. That's when I lost it.
Yes, yeah.
The very thing that I had dealt with my daughter about had come back to me now. And I'm like, oh, my God. And so we decided to go through with the chemotherapy. And but I was so I'll call it faithed up. When I went to my first chemo session, the nurses came to me and they said, Ms. Moore, we want to give you a catalog to pick out your wig. You get a wig your first, because the cancer center gives you your first wig when you lose your hair. And so they said, so while you're going through your treatment, just look through the catalog. And I was looking through it and I said, well, you can give me the wig, but I'm not going to lose my hair. And they said, yeah, you're going to lose your hair. I said, nope, not going to lose my hair. So, so I found this wig, and I'll tell you how things just line up. The name of the style of the wig that I picked out was Faith.
Wow.
So every day I put on Faith.
Put Faith on
my head. So it was, and we went through the chemo. There were some days, there were some tough days. There were some days that I thought, you know what, this is just not working. But I never lost faith, never had fear. I went through, as a matter of fact, when I went to Dr. Davis's symposium that year, at that time I hadn't told a lot of people about my cancer diagnosis. And so they were filming the show, and I was so afraid that some people that I had not told would find out about it. I was really private about it in the beginning.
Okay.
And Dr. Spates was there that day, and she talked about the importance of genetics testing. And I've had probably 4 family members that have had breast cancer, including my mother, my grandmother. Before I was diagnosed in February, I buried an aunt. Before I got diagnosed, I just buried an aunt in February of that year. So there's a lot of breast cancer that's happened in my family. And so once I finished the chemo, I decided to get the genetics test. And a lot of people know about what's called the BRCA2 gene, which is, a big catalyst for cancer showing up. Well, I didn't have the BRCA2 gene, but I had a gene called PALB2. And that particular gene is also a mutated gene that causes you to have a high risk for breast cancer. So couple it with the fact that my OncoDX test was high, put me in a high risk. Now I've got a mutated gene that puts me in a high risk. So now, whereas I thought I was going to go through radiation, my doctors are recommending bilateral mastectomy. And so I'm like, this just keeps getting crazier. That's the thing about cancer. It's not a cut and dry situation.
Right.
No one's experience is the exact same. I could make a decision one way, you could make a decision another way. And one of the things that I have to say, and this is something that Kelly told me, my oncologist, my plastic surgeon, my general surgeon, you can't make a wrong decision. This is going to be the decision that's best for you.
Okay.
And long story short, I had a bilateral mastectomy on October 9th. Y'all remember what October 9th was last year?
That was Dr. Davis' banquet?
No, that was the day that Hurricane Michael hit. So
October 9th?
October 9th. Michael hit.
Wow.
I knew nothing about it because I was in the hospital, knocked out. But yeah, and I asked them, are y'all going to do surgery on when a hurricane's coming? They said, we do it all the time. But as a result of all this, we went through dealing with Kelly and one of the things I want to say that we talked about how Kelly is so she teaches people to live. And one of the things she told me, Pamela, you went through all you went through last year to live. Now live.
So, Pamela, not Pamela, Kelly.
Yes.
I got your name right.
You did.
Kelly. So, you deal with this all the time.
Yes.
A lot. And so she said you got her to the point, and one of the things that you said was you teach people how to live life. And I put again.
Yes.
That's my
You're adding to it. That's
listening.
good. Yeah.
So talk about that, right?
I couldn't say it better that cancer and cancer treatment is a journey. That when I first met Pam, she had a lumpectomy. She wasn't really using her arms. She had been told, like a lot of people, women who've gone through breast cancer, to be careful after surgery. Just kind of be careful with your arms. Don't do too much, And so when she came in, she had her arms crossed across her stomach and was not. And I said, "Why are you sitting like that?" And she said, "Well, I haven't really used my arms too much. I was told to be careful. I had surgery." And we went from just kind of talking about what was important to her journey, what she had gone through in life, her diagnosis. And we went from a lumpectomy to a bilateral mastectomy with chemotherapy. And that, we kind of went through that all together, right? And so it changed the journey, and it changed it along the way. I will say the thing that I think she hit on that's really important is that when you were diagnosed, you kind of geared up for the fight of your life. Breast cancer patients do that. They go, I have so much to live for. I have all these grandchildren and these daughters. I have to be strong for them. I have to be that person for them. I've always been that person for them. And I can't now be weak, and I can't now give up. I'm going to gear up for this fight. And they do. They put on battle armor. And I'm going to do it every which way. And I have the privilege of being the person who's there sometimes when all the treatment is over, and they say, "So now what?" That was good timing for that music. Did you plan that? And so they do. They say, "So now what? What am I supposed to do now?" And I usually say, "You have to live your life, whatever that means." And a lot of times it's a new normal.
Wow.
We talk about the same things that Pamela talked about with her daughter, of looking in the mirror, of seeing what your new normal is, of getting to know your body again, of reestablishing what's important. Sometimes those things are new. Sometimes after trauma like this, after an experience like this, the things that meant something to you before don't mean the same things anymore. And that's it's kind of unbalancing. And Pam has done a really good job of going through the journey of, some people get stunted along the way, and she's done a really good job of being strong, of being weak, of expressing her emotions, and sometimes even being angry. And then coming through all of that and finding a new purpose and finding her new journey. And I've had the very blessed privilege of getting to be a part of that, a small part of it.
Wow. I don't know about y'all, but this is some real talk. This is powerful. I want to thank everybody. We're almost about to hang up. Hang up. I'm not on the phone. We're almost about to end here. But Mikaya, here's your mom going through this. What did you feel?
I felt at first I was angry. Both my sisters and we were very angry. It's definitely, we knew the possibilities, of course, with our family history being what it was. We knew the possibilities, but we were like, January, but when we found out, and I think it was strategic that my older sister and I were together. I was at her house when we got the phone call. I was angry. She had to calm me down. But I after, understanding and, kind of going through my whole emotions, we realized that we had to be something new for our mom at that particular point in time. My mom puts on a strong front. She's a strong woman, but I understand because I have that same complex. I'm strong. But I have my moments, and I know that she, had her moments, and she's one that's not going to show you too much of that, but I know that she did. I just realized that we needed to be there for her in a different and a new kind of way. So we banded together and, did what we had to do. Fight when she couldn't fight, and
I love it.
Take care of business.
Wow, this is powerful. This is powerful, man. I'm enjoying this. This need to go on some more. But listen, before we leave, Pam, tell us about, because she has birthed. She was already doing a lot before the cancer. She was already doing so much, and now she has the Pam Personal Touch LLC, but she's doing the fashion inspiration. You all got to see this flyer. This sister is. Did you put the flyer on there? I mean, Priscilla, I know they can go and do it. Y'all can go to her Facebook page. Pam, talk about that right quickly. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. She has me the model. So she has
Are you saying yes?
She's trying to get me on TV. I mean, on the radio. She's trying to get me to commit. Tell us about it, Miss Pam.
Well, Fashion Inspirations is really just about just what it speaks. I believe that everything that we walk through in life fashions us and purposes us to be an inspiration for somebody else. A lot of what we go through
is not for us.
Yeah.
And so I had the this October I am cancer free for 1 year. And so it's a celebration of that, and also a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society and a local support group, the Joanna Francis Living Well Foundation.
Wow.
And so what we're doing, we're combining all those things that we love: beauty, fashion, inspiration. It's a fashion show, it's a luncheon, it's a boutique. Wow. You can shop, ladies. And it's going to take place on October 26th at 11 a.m. And it's going to be at Metropolitan Cathedral of Truth, which is my church, at 1110 Rich Bay Road in Havana. And it is a fundraiser, and the tickets are $35. And you can visit our event website, which is www.fashionedinspirations.com. And get your tickets. We hope to see you there. Veronica's going to be there, y'all. So she's going to be our celebrity speaker. And the models will be ladies who have gone through cancer and are breast cancer survivors. And so it's going to be a really fun afternoon. And so I'm still waiting for that. Yes, Dr. Judy?
Yeah, Dr. Jenny Claire just told me that she's going to be one of the models.
She is.
She's part of the fashion show. So I'm going to think about it and see what happens, because this room has so much energy, so much inspiration in it. I'm feeling, and I love what you said, a new journey, a new way of life, a new way of doing things. I had thyroid cancer, and that was 10 years ago. And so, but just sitting here, already in a room, fashion with inspiration and beauty is quite rewarding. And this has been a totally real talk show. And so, Kelly, what would you like to say? And then Mikaya, give you a minute, and then Pam, you're going to do it, and then I'm going to end it.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come on this journey with you. It is, I say it all of the time, a huge privilege to be allowed into people's lives in the way that they allow me in, and to be allowed to help them get back to living their life. So I just want to say thank you. I'm excited about your day, about Fashioned Inspirations, and excited to be there. So thank you very much. No, ma'am. I'll be talking, but I will not be modeling.
But you're not going to model.
No.
All right, Mikaya?
I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I'm so proud of my mom for stepping out and really just doing what God called her to do. I know it's been a long journey, so I'm proud of what's going to come, or what has already come, and I'm proud of what's going to come from this. So, ladies, get your tickets. Come on out.
Yeah, get your ticket and come on out. It's going to be a day of celebrating 1 year of cancer-free with Pamela Moore. And we want to get our ticket, and we want to be there. She let me wear that fur. I might. Go ahead, ma'am.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, Dr. Judy, for allowing us to come on and talk about this. Trauma really does birth vision. And sometimes not only does it birth it, but it also, sometimes it's lying dormant for years, but that when you come face to face with your morality, and you realize, you know what, my husband preached a sermon a couple of weeks ago, said time is not your friend.
Yeah.
So you have to do what you have to do with the time you have been given here on this earth. And so this is one of the things that has been inside of me for years, and this gave me the platform to be able to bring it to life.
Wow. Y'all, thank y'all so very much for tuning in to the Real Talk with Judy show. And just know you have something lying down dormant within you that need to be birthed. And you really don't have to wait on trauma to get it done. Just be around some powerful women, people who see that value within you and birth it. But we are celebrating with Pamela Moore. We're celebrating with Mikaya and Kelly. We thank you for being the awesome woman you are. Will help bring life back to people, because sometimes, y'all, it's just really hard to bounce back. And you have to have that person. Angela, we thank you for tuning in, and y'all can tell I'm a have not fan. That Veronica and Miss Catherine, boy, those are my people. Those are my people. So we want to thank you all so very much. Pam, great job. Mikaya, great job. We're so proud of you. Kelly, thank you. Thank you so very much. And to everybody who's listening, thank you. We have so many events going on in October. October is Cancer Awareness Month, Domestic Violence Month, just a lot of traumatic things. And we're making you aware of these things so we can take care of ourselves and we could come out victorious. Okay? So we want to thank you all. Ms. Monique, thank you so very much for what you do. You're absolutely fantastic, and I appreciate you. Mama, thank you for listening. And this show has been brought to you by so many of my investors, but I kind of missed telling them thank you from the beginning. But I want to thank everybody. We will be back next Tuesday. Lord say the same, with another great show, another great Real Talk with Judy show. But listen, December the 16th is our Dear Sister Girls Christmas holiday. We want all the women to come. We want women from everywhere to come. Mikaya might be there making us up, so as we walk in that door, we are fabulous. All right? Hey, listen, I see you in the future. And guess what? Y'all, we're making things happen. Why? Because Sister Girls rock. That's Real Talk. Real Talk.